Welcome to the dazzling world of New York's jewelry empire, where every gem hides a secret. Emma, a sales queen with a heart of fire, rules the game until a mysterious billionaire CEO, cloaked in disguise, turns her world upside down. Passion, betrayal, and love collide in a story that sparkles brighter than any diamond. Stay tuned for a romance you won't forget. The glittering lights of New York City's Fifth Avenue cast a golden glow over the sleek storefront of Lux Designs, a jewelry empire renowned for its exquisite diamonds and timeless craftsmanship. Inside the towering glass building, Emma Carter stood at the head of a conference room, her sharp blue eyes scanning the faces of her sales team. At 32, Emma was the undisputed queen of Lux Designs' sales department, a force of nature who closed multi-million-dollar deals with a smile that could charm a stone. Her tailored black blazer hugged her frame, and the diamond pendant at her throat, a piece from Lux's latest collection, sparkled under the fluorescent lights. She was the company's golden child, the one who turned every negotiation into a victory. But success came at a price, and Emma knew it better than anyone. "Team, we're on the cusp of something huge," Emma said, her voice steady and commanding. She clicked the remote, projecting a slide of a sparkling emerald necklace onto the screen. "Sterling Gems, the biggest name in the industry, wants a partnership. This contract could redefine Lux Designs. I expect everyone to bring their agam." The room buzzed with nods and murmurs of agreement, but Emma's gaze caught a flicker of disdain from Jenna Shaw, her deputy supervisor. Jenna, with her sleek blonde hair and perpetually pursed lips, sat at the far end of the table, scribbling notes with a pen that seemed to stab the paper. Emma had seen that look before. Gina's ambition burned brighter than a Times Square billboard, and she wasn't shy about wanting Emma's throne. For months, Jenna had been whispering rumors, suggesting Emma's success came from charm rather than skill, that she traded on her looks to win clients. The accusations stung, but Emma had learned to brush them off. In this city, envy was just the cost of being the best. As the meeting wrapped up, Emma caught sight of a new face lingering by the door, a man in a crisp gray suit, his dark hair neatly combed, his posture relaxed yet observant. He introduced himself as James Sterling, a junior assistant from Sterling Gems, sent to oversee the initial negotiations. His hazel eyes met hers with an intensity that made her pause, but she dismissed it as professional curiosity. "Welcome, Mr. Sterling," she said, extending a hand. His grip was firm, his smile disarming, but there was something in his demeanor that felt calculated. "Thank you, Miss Carter," James replied, his voice smooth as polished stone. "I've heard a lot about you. Top salesperson, unbeatable track record. I'm looking forward to seeing you in action." Emma nodded, brushing off the flattery. She'd heard it all before. Clients loved to butter her up before the real haggling began. But as James took a seat, she couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching her too closely, like a jeweler inspecting a gem for flaws. That evening, Lux Designs hosted a gala at a rooftop venue overlooking Central Park, the skyline twinkling like a showcase of their finest diamonds. Emma glided through the crowd in a sleek emerald gown, her confidence as radiant as the jewels on display. Clients and executives mingled, champagne flutes clinking, as a string quartet played softly in the background. Emma was in her element, charming a group of investors when James approached, a glass of bourbon in hand. "Impressive turnout," he said, gesturing to the crowd. "You've got this place wrapped around your finger." Emma raised an eyebrow, sipping her champagne. "It's just business. Mr. Sterling, you make people feel valued. They open their wallets." "Simple," James chuckled, a low warm sound that made her pulse quicken. "Simple? Huh? I bet there's more to it than that. Tell me, how does someone get to be the Emma Carter?" She tilted her head, studying him. His easy charm was disarming, but she wasn't here to play games. Hard work, late nights, and knowing when to call a bluff. "What about you?" "Assistants don't usually get invites to galas like this." He shrugged, his smile cryptic. "I'm here to learn from the best. Sterling Gems is particular about who they partner with. I'm just doing my due diligence." Before Emma could probe further, Jenna swooped in, her red dress clinging to her like a warning sign. "Emma, darling, you're hogging our guest," she said, her smile as sharp as a shard of glass. "Mr. Sterling, I'm Jenna Shaw, deputy supervisor. If you need real insight into Lux Designs, I'm your girl." Emma's jaw tightened, but she kept her composure. "Jenna's great at insights," she said coolly, "especially the kind that don't make it to the sales reports." Jenna's eyes flashed, but she laughed it off, steering James toward a group of executives. Emma watched them go, her instincts screaming that Jenna was up to something. She'd seen this dance before, Jenna's subtle digs, her knack for planting doubts. Last month, Jenna had accidentally leaked a rumor to a client that Emma had fudged a sales projection, nearly costing her a deal. Emma had fought tooth and nail to prove it false, but the damage lingered. As the night wore on, Emma found herself cornered by Lucas Bennett, a logistics coordinator with a rough-around-the-edges charm. Lucas, with his tousled brown hair and a scar above his eyebrow, had a reputation for bending rules but getting results. He'd been with Lux Designs for years, always loyal to Emma, though his past rumors of shady deals and a stint in jail made him a target for gossip. Circling like a vulture, Lucas said, leaning against a pillar with a beer in hand. Heard she's been cozying up to the Sterling Gems team, telling them you're all flash, no substance. Emma sighed, swirling her champagne. Let her try. I've got the numbers to back me up. But this James guy, something's off. He's too polished for an assistant. Lucas grinned. You think he's a spy? Maybe Sterling Gems sent him to dig dirt? Or maybe he's just nosy, Emma said. But her gut told her there was more to James Sterling. She glanced across the room, catching his eye as he laughed with Jenna. For a moment, their gazes locked, and Emma felt a spark she couldn't explain, a mix of curiosity and caution. The next morning, back at Looks Designs, Emma was prepping for a critical meeting with Sterling Gems when Jenna dropped a bombshell. I heard something interesting, Jenna said, leaning into Emma's office with a smirk. Word is, James Sterling's not just an assistant. Some say he's got a secret. Maybe he's playing both sides. Or worse, he's not into women at all. Emma froze, her pen hovering over her notes. That's a bold claim, Jenna. Got proof? Or is this just your usual gossip? Jenna shrugged, her eyes glinting with malice. Just a heads up, Emma. You're not the only one who can charm a client. Watch your back. As Jenna sauntered off, Emma's mind raced. Was James hiding something? Or was Jenna just stirring the pot? Either way, the stakes were higher now. The Sterling Gems contract was worth millions, and Emma wasn't about to let Jenna or anyone steal her spotlight. She straightened her blazer, adjusted her diamond pendant, and headed to the meeting room, ready to face James and whatever game he was playing. But as she entered, James stood to greet her, his smile warm but unreadable. Miss Carter, ready to dazzle us? He asked, his tone teasing yet professional. Emma met his gaze, her own smile sharp. Always, Mr. Sterling. Let's see if you can keep up. The room quieted, all eyes on them. Emma knew this was more than a negotiation. It was a battle for control, and she was determined to win. Little did she know, the real fight was just beginning, and James Sterling was about to turn her world upside down. The morning sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Looks Design's headquarters, casting prisms of light across the polished marble floors. Emma Carter sat at her desk, her laptop screen glowing with spreadsheets and client emails. The Sterling Gems contract loomed large, a high-stakes deal that could catapult Looks Designs to the top of the jewelry world, but Emma's focus kept drifting to James Sterling, the so-called assistant who'd left her unsettled after their encounter at the gala. His polished demeanor, his too knowing smile, something about him didn't add up. Was he really just an assistant? Or was Jenna Shaw's gossip about him hiding a secret closer to the truth? Emma shook her head, pushing the thought aside. She had bigger problems. Jenna had been circling like a shark, her whispers about Emma's unethical tactics spreading like wildfire through the office. Yesterday, Emma overheard a junior sales rep muttering that she'd charmed her way into a deal with a Parisian client. The rumor traced back to Jenna, of course. Emma clenched her jaw, her fingers tightening around her coffee mug. She'd worked too hard to let Jenna's petty games derail her. A knock at her door snapped her out of her thoughts. Lucas Bennett leaned against the frame, his worn leather jacket a stark contrast to the sleek office decor. Morning, boss, he said, a lopsided grin on his face. Heard you're meeting with the Sterling Gems guy again? Want me to run a background check on him? Guy's too slick for my liking. Emma smirked, leaning back in her chair. Tempting. Lucas, but I don't need you playing private eye. He's just an assistant, probably overcompensating to impress his boss. Lucas raised an eyebrow, crossing his arms. Assistant? My ass. Nobody that confident is fetching coffee for a living. Bet he's got an angle. Emma considered it. Lucas had a knack for sniffing out trouble. His checkered past gave him a sixth sense for deception. But she couldn't afford to get distracted. Focus on the logistics for the Sterling deal, she said. I need those diamond shipment schedules airtight. No room for errors. Lucas saluted mockingly. Ale, Captain. But don't say I didn't warn you about Mr. Mysterious. As Lucas left, Emma's phone buzzed with a calendar reminder. Sterling Gems negotiation prep, 10 a.m. She grabbed her notes and headed to the conference room, where James was already waiting, flipping through a dossier with a casual ease that irritated her. He looked up, his hazel eyes catching hers. Ms. Carter, right on time. I like punctuality. Glad I meet your standards, Emma replied dryly, setting her files on the table. Let's get to it. Sterling Gems wants an exclusive line with our new Sapphire collection. What's your side bringing to the table? James leaned forward, his tone all business. We're offering a 60-40 profit split, with Sterling Gems handling global distribution. But we need guarantees on quality control, our brands built on perfection. Emma nodded, jotting notes. Fair. Looks Designs has the best gemologists in the city. We'll exceed your standards, but I want a clause ensuring we retain creative control over the designs. Their back and forth was sharp, each testing the other's limits. Emma couldn't deny James was too sharp for an assistant. His knowledge of market trends and supply chains rivaled her own, and his confidence bordered on arrogance. As the meeting wrapped up, he lingered, his gaze lingering a beat too long. "You're good at this, Emma," he said, dropping the formalities. Most people would have buckled under the pressure of a deal this big. She arched an eyebrow. "Flattery won't get you a better deal, Mr. Sterling. Stick to the numbers." He chuckled, unfazed. "Noted. But I'm serious. You're a force. Sterling Gems is lucky to have you on this." Emma felt a flush of warmth but pushed it down. She wasn't here to be charmed. "Save it for the contract signing," she said, gathering her files and leaving before he could respond. Back in her office, Emma barely had time to sit before Jenna barged in, her heels clicking like a metronome. "Nice job hogging the Sterling Gems guy," Jenna said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. But words getting around Emma. "People are saying you're too cozy with him. Makes sense, though. Pretty face, big client. Classic move." Emma's temper flared, but she kept her voice cool. "If you spent half as much time on your sales numbers as you do on gossip, maybe you'd hit quota for once." Jenna's smile didn't falter. "Oh, I'm hitting my targets, and I'm not the one risking a scandal. I heard James Sterling got a secret maybe. He's not even into women. Wouldn't that be a plot twist?" Emma's fingers tightened on her pen. "You're reaching, Jenna. If you've got something to say, spit it out or get out." Jenna shrugged, tossing her hair. "Just looking out for you. Wouldn't want you chasing a guy who's playing a different game." She sauntered out, leaving Emma fuming. The rumor gnawed at Emma all day. Was James hiding something? His charm, his evasiveness added up to a puzzle she couldn't solve. She decided to test him. That evening, she invited the Sterling Gems team to a working dinner at a chic Manhattan restaurant, hoping to catch James off guard. The private dining room overlooked the Hudson River, its waters reflecting the city's lights like scattered diamonds. Emma wore a sleek black dress, her confidence a shield against Jenna's barbs. James arrived with his team, but his focus was on Emma. As they discussed contract details over seared scallops and Pinot Noir, he matched her wit, deflecting her probing questions with ease. "You're relentless," he said, grinning as she pressed him on Sterling Gems' supply chain. "Ever take a break from being the best? Breaks are for people who can afford to lose." Emma shot back, but her smile betrayed a flicker of amusement. Lucas, who'd tagged along to oversee logistics, leaned over during a lull. "Told you, Emma, guy's not what he seems. He's too good at this." Emma nodded subtly, her eyes on James as he charmed the table. "Keep an eye on him," she whispered. "I want to know what he's hiding." As the dinner wound down, Jenna made her move, sliding into the seat next to James with a glass of wine. "Emma's been singing your praises," she said, her tone syrupy. "But I'm curious, what's a guy like you doing as an assistant? You seem more executive material." James's smile was polite but guarded. "Just doing my job, Ms. Shaw. Supporting the team, learning the ropes." Jenna leaned closer, her voice low but loud enough for Emma to hear. "Come on, James. Rumor has it you're not just here for the coffee runs. Spill the tea. What's your real deal?" Emma's heart skipped. She leaned forward, waiting for his response. James met Jenna's gaze, then glanced at Emma, his expression unreadable. "My real deal. I'm here to make sure Sterling Gems picks the right partner, and right now, I'm betting on Ms. Carter." The table went quiet, all eyes on Emma. She forced a smile, but her mind raced. Was he deflecting, or was there truth in his words? As the dinner ended, James caught her at the coat check, his voice low. "Don't let Jenna get under your skin. She's playing a game, but you're the one holding the cards." Emma studied him, searching for a crack in his facade. "And what game are you playing, James?" He smiled, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Stick around, Emma, you'll find out." As she stepped into the chilly New York night, Emma's instinct screamed that James Sterling was more than he seemed. But with Jenna's schemes tightening around her and the Sterling Gems contract hanging in the balance, Emma knew one thing for sure. She was in deep, and the real game was just beginning. The hum of Manhattan's morning traffic filtered through the glass walls of Lux Design's headquarters. But inside Emma Carter's office, the air was thick with tension. Papers littered her desk: contracts, shipment schedules, and quality reports for the Sterling Gems deal. Emma's eyes burned from a sleepless night, her mind replaying Jenna Shaw's taunts and James Sterling's cryptic words at the dinner. The rumors about James's supposed secret, the whispers that he wasn't what he seemed, gnawed at her. Was he playing her, or was Jenna just stirring the pot to throw her off? Either way, Emma couldn't afford to lose focus. The Sterling Gems contract was her ticket to cementing her legacy at Lux Designs, and she wasn't about to let anyone snatch it away. A sharp knock broke her thoughts. Jenna stood in the doorway, her red lipstick stark against her pale skin, a tablet clutched in her manicured hands. "Emma, got a sec?" she asked, her voice syrupy sweet. "The Sterling team needs a tour of our secure vault today. They're insisting on seeing our inventory process firsthand." "I'd do it, but I'm swamped with the Paris account." Emma's instincts flared. Jenna never passed up a chance to cozy up to a client, especially one as big as Sterling Gems. "Why the sudden urgency?" Emma asked, leaning back in her chair. "And why me? You've been glued to James Sterling all week." Jenna's smile didn't waver, but her eyes glinted with something sharp. "Oh, come on, Emma. You're the star of the show. They specifically asked for you." Besides, I figured you'd want to impress Mr. Mysterios yourself. She slid the tablet across Emma's desk, the schedule already pulled up. It's set for noon. Don't keep them waiting. Emma scanned the tablet, her gut screaming that something was off. But the request checked out as standard vault tour, signed off by the logistics team. She handed it back, her voice cool. Fine, I'll handle it. But Jenna, if this is one of your games, you'll regret it. Jenna laughed, a tinkling sound that grated on Emma's nerves. Always so paranoid. Emma, relax, it's just business. She turned on her heel and left, her heels clicking like a countdown dot by noon. Emma was in the lower levels of Lux Designs, where the secure vault housed millions in diamonds, sapphires, and rare gems. The air was cool, the walls lined with steel, and biometric scanners. Lucas Bennett was already there, double-checking inventory logs on his tablet. You sure about this, Emma? He said, his voice low. Jenna's got that look like she's planning a hit. Emma adjusted her blazer, her diamond pendant catching the dim light. I can handle Jenna, just make sure the shipment logs are ready for Sterling. We can't afford a single slip-up. Lucas nodded, but his jaw tightened. I'm coming with you. Something's not right. Sterling's assistant James E's been asking too many questions about our security protocols. Feels like he's fishing. Emma frowned. Lucas's suspicions about James echoed her own, but she didn't have time to dwell on it. The vault's heavy door hissed open, revealing rows of gleaming display cases. James arrived moments later, flanked by 2 Sterling Gems reps. His gray suit, impeccable as always. Ms. Carter, he said, his smile warm but guarded, ready to show us the crown jewels. Let's make this quick, Emma replied, her tone all business. She led them through the vault, explaining the cutting-edge security systems and rigorous quality checks. James listened intently, his questions sharp and probing, too sharp for an assistant. Emma noted. Lucas trailed behind, his eyes darting between James and the reps, like a guard dog sensing a threat. Halfway through the tour, one of the reps excused himself to take a call, leaving Emma, James, and Lucas alone. As Emma demonstrated the vault's locking mechanism, a loud clang echoed through the chamber. The lights flickered, and the vault door slammed shut with a deafening thud. Emma spun around, her heart racing. What the hell was that? Lucas rushed to the door, punching in the override code. The panel beeped angrily, flashing red. It's locked, he said, his voice tight. The system's offline. We're stuck. James's calm facade cracked, his eyes narrowing. This isn't a glitch, is it? Emma's mind raced. Jenna's smirk flashing in her memory. No, she said, her voice cold. This is a setup. She pulled out her phone, but the signal was dead. Vaults were designed to block communications. Panic clawed at her chest, but she forced it down. Lucas, check the backup panel. There's got to be a manual override. Lucas nodded, prying open a control box, but the wires inside were a mess. Sabotaged. Someone cut the lines, he growled. We're not getting out unless they open it from the outside. James stepped forward, his voice steady. How long before someone notices we're missing? Emma glared at him, her suspicion flaring. You tell me, Mr. Sterling. You've been awfully curious about our systems. Convenient timing for a lock-in, don't you think? James's jaw tightened, but he didn't flinch. If I wanted to screw you over, I wouldn't trap myself in here with you. Think, Emma, who benefits from this? Emma's mind went to Jenna. This had her fingerprints all over it. A chance to discredit Emma, make her look incompetent, or worse, derail the Sterling deal. Jenna, she muttered, her fists clenching. She set this up. Lucas kicked the door, frustration boiling over. That snake. She's probably laughing her ass off right now, telling everyone you botched the tour. Emma paced her heels, echoing in the confined space. The vault was climate-controlled, but the air felt heavy, the walls closing in. We need a plan, she said. The vault's on a 24-hour lock cycle unless someone overrides it. We've got air, but no food, no water. We can't just wait. James pulled off his jacket, rolling up his sleeves. There's a maintenance hatch in every vault like this. Seen it in our facilities? Where's yours? Emma hesitated, still wary of him. But with no better options, she pointed to a panel. In the corner, there, but it's sealed. Needs a key, we don't have. Lucas and James worked together, prying at the panel with a multi-tool Lucas carried. Emma watched, her mind racing. If Jenna had planned this, she'd covered her tracks well. But why trap James too? Unless was he in on it? The thought twisted in her gut, but his focus on the hatch, his hands steady despite the situation, made her doubt it. Hours passed, the cold seeping into their bones. Lucas kept up a stream of banter, trying to lighten the mood. So, James, you ever been locked in a vault before? Or is this just another day at the office for you? James shot him a look, a faint smile tugging at his lips. First time? You? Lucas grinned. I've been in worse spots. Remind me to tell you about the time I got stuck in a warehouse in Brooklyn. Emma rolled her eyes, but their chatter kept her grounded. She sat against a display case, her arms wrapped around herself. James noticed, offering his jacket. Take it, you're shivering. I'm fine, Emma snapped, but her teeth chattered. Betraying her, she took the jacket, his warmth lingering in the fabric. Don't think this means I trust you. Noted, James said, his voice soft. But I'm not your enemy, Emma. I want this deal to work as much as you do. Before she could respond, a faint hum vibrated through the vault. The lights flickered, and the door hissed open, revealing a security team and a frantic-looking manager. Ms. Carter, are you okay? The manager asked, rushing in. Emma stood, brushing off James's jacket. We're fine. What happened? System malfunction, the manager said, but his eyes darted nervously. We're investigating. Emma exchanged a look with Lucas. Malfunction? My ass, he muttered, as they emerged into the bustling office. Emma spotted Jenna in the hallway, her expression a mix of feigned concern and smug satisfaction. Emma's blood boiled. This wasn't over. She turned to James, who was watching her closely. You still betting on me, Mr. Sterling? She asked, her voice sharp. He met her gaze, unflinching. Always, Miss Carter, but you'd better watch. You're back. Someone's playing dirty. Emma nodded, her resolve hardening. Jenna had crossed a line, and Emma was done playing nice. The game was on, and she was ready to fight for the contract, for her reputation, and for answers about James. Sterling, the aftermath of the vault incident left Emma shaken, her nerves frayed like a worn necklace chain. The sterile glow of Lux Design's offices felt suffocating as she sat at her desk, replaying the moment the vault door slammed shut. Smug face haunted her, a reminder that this was no accident. Someone had sabotaged the system, and Emma was certain Jenna was behind it, scheming to make her look incompetent in front of the Sterling Gems team. But what gnawed at her more was James's calm under pressure, his quick thinking in the vault. Was he an ally, or part of Jenna's game? The question lingered as she sipped her coffee, the bitter taste mirroring her mood. Lucas knocked on her door, his usual grin replaced by a grim expression. You okay, Emma? He asked, leaning against the frame. You look like you haven't slept since the gala. I'm fine, Emma lied, rubbing her temples. A dull ache had settled in her head, and her stomach churned, a side effect of the stressor, so she thought. Any word on the vault investigation? Lucas shook his head there, calling it a technical glitch, but we both know that's bullshit. I checked the logs. Someone accessed the security system an hour before we went in. Guess who was in the control room? Jenna, Emma said, her voice flat. Of course. Bingo, Lucas said, crossing his arms. She's playing dirty. Emma, you need to hit back harder. Emma nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. The vault had been a wake-up call. She couldn't trust anyone, not even James, whose charm felt like a trap of its own. She pushed herself up, ignoring the wave of nausea. I'll deal with Jenna. First, I need to make sure the Sterling deal stays on track. We can't afford to lose it. Lucas hesitated, his eyes narrowing. You sure you're okay? You're pale as hell. I said I'm fine, Emma snapped, sharper than she meant. She softened, forcing a smile. Just keep an eye on Jenna. I need you in my corner. Always, Lucas said, his grin returning. But you owe me a beer for this one. Emma managed a laugh, but as Lucas left, the nausea hit harder. She barely made it to the bathroom before doubling over, her stomach heaving. Panic crept in as she splashed water on her face, staring at her reflection in the mirror. This wasn't just stress. Something was wrong. By midday, Emma was in a sterile clinic a few blocks from Fifth Avenue, the antiseptic smell doing little to calm her nerves. The doctor, a kind-eyed woman in her 50s, reviewed her chart with a furrowed brow. Miss Carter, your symptoms, nausea, fatigue, dizziness, point to something specific, she said. We ran a test, and you're pregnant. Emma's world tilted. Pregnant? She whispered, her voice barely audible. That's impossible. The doctor offered a gentle smile. Not impossible. You're about 6 weeks along. But I need to warn you, your blood work shows low progesterone levels. This pregnancy is high risk. If you miscarry, it could be difficult to conceive again. Emma's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the exam table. 6 weeks? Her mind raced back to a hazy night after a client dinner, a rare moment when she'd let her guard down. Lucas had been there, joking, pouring wine. Had something happened? The memory was a blur, and the thought made her chest tighten. What do I do? She asked, her voice cracking. Rest, reduce stress, and follow up with an OBGYN. The doctor said, you have options, but you need to decide soon. Emma left the clinic in a daze, the bustling streets of Manhattan blurring around her. Pregnia. The word felt like a foreign object lodged in her throat. She couldn't be a mother, not now, not with her career on the line, and Jenna breathing down her neck. And if Lucas was the father? God, what a mess. Beckett Looks Designs. Emma tried to focus on the Sterling Gems contract, but her thoughts kept spiraling. She was in a meeting with the sales team when Jenna sauntered in, her eyes glinting with malice. Rough day, Emma, she said, her tone dripping with mock sympathy. Heard you had a little scare in the vault. Clients don't like that kind of drama. Emma's temper flared, but she kept her voice steady. Funny, Jenna. I'd say the real drama is your inability to close a deal without sabotaging someone else. The room went quiet, the team exchanging uneasy glances. Jenna's smile tightened. Careful, Emma. Rumors are flying about you and that assistant. James, people are saying you're getting too personal with the Sterling team. Bad look for the company? Emma's blood ran cold. Jenna was escalating, planting seeds of doubt to undermine her credibility. Before she could respond, James walked in, his presence commanding the room. Ms. Shaw, if you have concerns, bring them to me directly, he said, his voice calm but edged with steel. Ms. Carter's handling the Sterling deal flawlessly. Any issues with that? Jenna faltered, her confidence wavering. Just making sure we're all on the same page. Mr. Sterling? Good, James said, his eyes locking on Emma. Let's keep it professional. After the meeting, Emma caught James in the hallway, her frustration boiling over. What was that about? She demanded. You don't get to swoop in and play hero. I can handle Jenna. James raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Didn't look like you needed saving, but I'm not here to watch you get ambushed. Jenna's got an agenda, and you're her target. Emma crossed her arms, studying him. His concern seemed genuine, but those rumors, Jenna's hints about his personal life kept her on edge. Why do you care? She asked. You're just an assistant. What's in it for you? James's smile was cryptic, his hazel eyes searching hers. Maybe I just like a fair fight, or maybe I see something worth fighting for. Emma's heart skipped, but she pushed it down. Save the charm. James, I don't trust you, and I don't need your protection. He nodded, stepping back. Fair enough. But when you figure out who's really on your side, I'll be here. That evening, Emma met Lucas at a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen, needing a friend to ground her. The neon lights cast a warm glow over the worn wooden tables, and Lucas slid a beer her way. Spill it, Emma, he said. You've been off since the vault. What's going on? Emma hesitated, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. She couldn't keep it in any longer. I'm pregnant, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. 6 weeks, and I don't know who the father is. Lucas's eyes widened, his beer frozen halfway to his mouth. Whoa, okay, that's big. You think it's... He trailed off, his face reddening. Emma shook her head, tears prickling her eyes. I don't know, Lucas. That night after the client dinner, we were drunk, and I can't remember everything. But it could be you, or... She stopped, the thought of James flickering in her mind. Impossible, but persistent. Lucas set his beer down, his expression softening. Hey, whatever happened, I've got your back. If it's mine, I'll step up. If it's not, I'm still here. You're not alone, Emma. She nodded, grateful but overwhelmed. Thanks, Lucas. But Jenna's already sniffing around, spreading lies. If she finds out about this, she'll use it to bury me. Lucas's jaw tightened. Then we bury her first. I'll dig into the vault logs, see if I can pin it on her. She's not getting away with this. As Emma left the bar, the weight of her secret pressed heavier. The Sterling deal, Jenna's schemes, James's mysterious motives, and now a baby she was drowning in it all. But as she stepped into the cool New York night, her resolve hardened. She'd fight for her place at Lux Designs, for her future, and for answers. And if James was hiding something, she'd find out what it was, no matter the cost. The polished halls of Lux Designs buzzed with the usual Monday morning energy, but Emma felt like she was walking through a minefield. The revelation of her pregnancy still churned in her mind, a secret she guarded like a rare diamond. She adjusted her blazer, the weight of her diamond pendant grounding her as she stepped into the executive boardroom for a critical meeting with the Sterling Gems team. The air was thick with ambition and suspicion, and Emma's eyes locked on Jenna, who sat across the table with a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Jenna's whispers about Emma's unprofessional conduct had spread like wildfire. And now, with the Sterling contract on the line, every move mattered. James entered the room, his gray suit crisp, his hazel eyes scanning the group before settling on Emma. Ms. Carter, ready to seal the deal? He asked, his tone professional but warm, a contrast to the cold stares from Jenna and her allies. Always. Mr. Sterling, Emma replied, her voice steady despite the nausea creeping up her throat. She clicked her presentation to life, projecting a dazzling sapphire ring design on the screen. Lux Designs proposes a limited edition sapphire collection for Sterling Gems, with exclusive distribution rights. Our projections show a 30% market share increase within 6 months. The room nodded in approval, but Jenna leaned forward, her voice dripping with honeyed venom. Impressive numbers, Emma, but projections are just promises. Some of us are more practical. Sterling might prefer a team with a cleaner track record. Emma's jaw tightened. Jenna's insinuations were bolder now, hinting at scandals that didn't exist. Before Emma could fire back, James cut in, his voice calm but firm. Ms. Shaw Lux's track record speaks for itself. Ms. Carter's team has delivered consistently. I'm more interested in results than rumors. Jenna's smile faltered, but her eyes gleamed with defiance. Emma felt a flicker of gratitude toward James, but her suspicion lingered. Why was he defending her so fiercely? Was it genuine, or part of some deeper game? The memory of the vault incident, Jenna's sabotage, kept her on edge. She couldn't trust anyone, not even the charming assistant who seemed to see right through her. After the meeting, Emma caught Lucas in the break room, pouring coffee with his usual disregard for the office's fancy machine. "Jenna's upping her game," he said, sliding a mug her way. "Heard she's been emailing the Sterling team, saying you're distracted, unreliable. She's gunning for your spot, Emma." Emma sipped the coffee, wincing at its bitterness. "She's not getting it. I've got the numbers, the clients, and the contract. She's got nothing but gossip." Lucas raised an eyebrow, his scar catching the light. "Don't underestimate her. She's got friends upstairs. I heard she's been cozying up to the CFO, planting ideas about financial irregularities in your department." Emma's stomach dropped, the coffee turning sour in her mouth. Irregularities. That's a new low, even for her. Lucas leaned closer, his voice low. "I'm digging into it. Got a buddy in IT who can check her email logs. If she's faking evidence, we'll catch her." Emma nodded, grateful for Lucas's loyalty. He'd always had her back, even when his own reputation took hits. But as she left the break room, her phone buzzed with an email from the CFO. "Financial audit required for Sales Team 1. Meet me at 2 p.m. Her heart sank. Jenna wasn't just whispering, now she was striking dot at 2 p.m. Emma sat across from the CFO, a stern man named Richard Holt, whose glasses perched on his nose like a judge's gavel. "Ms. Carter, we've received reports of discrepancies in your team's expense reports," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "Unreported client gifts, inflated travel costs, serious stuff." Emma's blood ran cold as she opened the folder. The documents were damning receipts with her name, emails she'd never sent, approving lavish expenses. "This is fake," she said, her voice steady despite the panic clawing her chest. "I've never seen these before." Holt's eyes narrowed. "The evidence is compelling. Emma, until we clear this up, you're suspended from leading the Sterling contract. Jenna Shaw will take over as interim lead." Emma's fists clenched under the table. "Jenna's behind this. She's been trying to sabotage me for months." Holt sighed, removing his glasses. "That's a serious accusation. Bring me proof, and we'll talk. For now, Jenna's clean, and you're not." Emma left Holt's office in a daze, her heels clicking against the marble floor like gunshots. Suspended. The word burned in her mind. Jenna had played her hand perfectly, framing her with forged documents. But how? Emma's thoughts were interrupted by James, who caught her in the hallway, his face etched with concern. "Emma, what's going on?" he asked, his voice low. "I just heard you're off the Sterling deal." Emma's temper flared. "Don't play innocent, James. You're with Sterling Gems. You must have known Jenna was pulling this." James's eyes darkened, a rare flash of anger breaking his calm facade. "You think I'd let this happen? I told Holt you're the best they've got." He wouldn't budge. Emma crossed her arms, studying him. His defense felt genuine, but doubt lingered. "Why are you so invested, James? You're just an assistant. What's your angle?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Maybe I see something worth fighting for. Or maybe I just hate seeing good people get screwed over. Your call." Emma's heart raced, torn between trust and caution. Before she could respond, Jenna appeared, her smile triumphant. "Tough break, Emma," she said, twirling a strand of blonde hair. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of the Sterling contract. Someone's got to keep things professional." Emma's hands itched to wipe the smirk off Jenna's face, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Enjoy your moment, Jenna. It won't last." Jenna laughed, undeterred. "We'll see." "Oh, and Emma, heard you've been under the weather. Hope it's not personal issues affecting your work." Her eyes glinted with malice, as if she knew more than she let on. Emma froze. Did Jenna know about the pregnancy? The thought sent a chill down her spine. She needed to act fast. That evening, she met Lucas at a quiet cafe in Chelsea, the smell of espresso grounding her as she spilled the details of her suspension. Lucas whistled low, leaning back in his chair. "Jenna's playing hardball. Those documents. I bet she's got someone in accounting helping her. My IT guy's pulling deleted files tonight. If there's a trail, we'll find it." Emma nodded, her fingers tracing the edge of her cup. "I can't lose this, Lucas. The Sterling contract is my career, and with everything else going on, I can't afford to fall apart." Lucas's eyes softened, catching the weight in her voice. "The baby thing. You don't have to go through it alone, Emma. I meant what I said. I'm here. Whatever you need." Emma's throat tightened. Lucas's loyalty was a lifeline, but the uncertainty of the baby's father, Lucas, or, impossibly, James, her awake at night. "Thanks, Lucas. But if Jenna's got her claws in the CFO, we need hard evidence, and we need it fast." As they left the cafe, Emma's phone buzzed with a text from James. "Meet me at the High Line, 8 p.m. We need to talk." Her heart skipped. Was this a trap, or a chance to uncover his true motives? She typed a quick reply, "Fine. Don't waste my time," and steeled herself for whatever came next at the High Line. The city's lights sparkled below as Emma found James leaning against a railing, his silhouette sharp against the skyline. He turned, his expression serious. "Emma, I know you don't trust me, but you need to hear this. Jenna's not just after your job, she's digging into your personal life. I overheard her talking to Holt about concerns over your stability. Emma's blood ran cold. She knows about the pregnancy, she said, her voice barely a whisper. How? James shook his head. I don't know, but she's weaponizing it. I'm on your side, Emma, but you've got to fight back. Hard. Emma studied him, the city's hum fading into the background. His eyes held a sincerity she wanted to believe, but the weight of betrayal, Janice, and possibly her guarded. Why should I trust you, James? You're hiding something. Everyone can see it. He stepped closer, his voice low. Maybe I am, but not about this. I want you to win. Emma, let me help. Emma's heart pounded, torn between fear and the pull of his words. Jenna's betrayal was clear, but James was still an enigma. As the city lights flickered, Emma made a choice she'd fight, but she'd do it her way. And no one, not even James, would hold her back. The sleek conference room at Lux Designs felt like a courtroom, as Emma stood at the head of the table, her heart pounding, but her face a mask of steel. The past week had been a nightmare, suspended from the Sterling Gems contract, framed for financial fraud, and haunted by the secret of her pregnancy. Jenna had played her cards ruthlessly, stepping into Emma's role with a smug grin. But today was different. Emma clutched a folder of evidence, her knuckles white, ready to take back what was hers. The boardroom was packed. Executives, the CFO Richard Holt, and the Sterling Gems team, including James, whose unreadable gaze followed her every move. Jenna sat near Holt, her blonde hair gleaming under the lights, exuding confidence that Emma was about to shatter. Emma cleared her throat, her voice cutting through the murmurs. Thank you for being here. I know there have been questions about my leadership, but I'm here to set the record straight. The allegations against me, unreported expenses, fake emails are a setup, and I have proof. Holt adjusted his glasses, his expression skeptical. Ms. Carter, these are serious claims. The evidence against you is thorough. What do you have to counter it? Emma opened her folder, sliding a stack of printouts across the table. These are server logs from our IT system, recovered by a trusted colleague. They show that the incriminating emails were sent from a dummy account created on Jenna's workstation. The timestamps match her login sessions. Jenna's smile froze, her eyes darting to the papers. That's absurd, she said, her voice tight. Anyone could have used my computer. This is a witch hunt. Emma didn't flinch, her gaze locked on Jenna Lee. Because the same account accessed our expense database to forge receipts with my name. And here's the kicker: security footage from the control room shows you disabling the vault's override system the day we were trapped. Care to explain? The room went silent, all eyes on Jenna. Holt's brow furrowed as he scanned the logs. Ms. Shaw, these are damning. What do you have to say? Jenna's composure cracked, her hands trembling as she pushed back from the table. This is a setup. Emma's desperate to save her job. She's the one who's been reckless. Distracted, ask her why she's been running to doctor's appointments. Emma's heart skipped, her pregnancy flashing in her mind. How did Jenna know? But she kept her voice steady, refusing to let Jenna derail her. My personal life is irrelevant. Jenna, this is about your lies. You've been sabotaging me for months, spreading rumors, faking documents, locking me in the vault. It ends now. James leaned forward, his voice calm but commanding. Ms. Shaw, if these logs are accurate, you've not only targeted Ms. Carter but jeopardized the Sterling Gems partnership. My team doesn't tolerate deception. Jenna's eyes widened, her bravado crumbling. You're taking her side? She's been cozying up to you, James, playing the victim. Everyone sees it. Emma's temper flared, but before she could respond, Lucas stepped into the room, a USB drive in hand. Sorry I'm late, he said, his grin sharp. Got something you'll want to see, Holt. Email chains between Jenna and an accounting clerk, plotting to frame Emma. My IT guy pulled them from the server's trash bin. Holt took the drive, his face darkening as he plugged it into his laptop. The screen projected a string of emails, Jenna instructing the clerk to alter records, promising a bonus for their discretion. The room erupted in murmurs and Jenna's face drained of color. This is fabricated, Jenna shouted, standing. You can't trust her or him. Lucas is a thug with a rap sheet. Lucas crossed his arms, unfazed. Call me what you want. Jenna, truth's on that drive. You're done. Holt slammed his laptop shut, his voice cold. Ms. Shaw, you're suspended pending a full investigation. Security will escort you out. Jenna's eyes blazed with fury, but two guards appeared at the door, cutting off her protests. As they led her away, she shot Emma a venomous glare. This isn't over, she hissed. Emma exhaled, her knees weak but her resolve unbroken. Holt turned to her, his tone softer. Miss Carter, it seems we owe you an apology. You're reinstated, effective immediately. The Sterling contract is yours. The room clapped, but Emma's eyes found James, who gave her a subtle nod, his expression a mix of pride and something deeper. She wanted to trust him, but the memory of Jenna's taunts or hints about Emma's personal issues kept her guarded. How had Jenna known about the pregnancy? And what was James's role in all this? After the meeting, Emma retreated to her office, the adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Lucas followed, leaning against her desk. Told you we'd nail her, he said, tossing a stress ball in the air. You okay though, Jenna's? Jab about doctor's appointments? She's fishing for something. Emma sank into her chair, her hands covering her face. She knows about the baby, Lucas, or suspects it. I don't know how, but she's been digging into my life. Lucas's grin faded, his voice softening. You think someone tipped her off? A nurse, maybe, or... He hesitated, glancing at the door. James. Emma's chest tightened. I don't know. He backed me today, but he's still hiding something. An assistant doesn't have that kind of pull with a CFO. Lucas nodded, catching the stress ball. Want me to keep digging? I can check his Sterling Gems file, see what pops. Do it, Emma said, her voice firm, but quietly. I need to know who I'm dealing with. That evening, Emma found herself at a quiet wine bar in Soho, invited by James for a debrief. The bar's dim lights and velvet curtains gave it an intimate feel, but Emma's guard was up. James sat across from her, a glass of bourbon in hand, his tie loosened. You were incredible today, he said, his voice warm. Jenna didn't stand a chance. Emma sipped her sparkling water she'd passed on wine, citing a headache, and studied him. Thanks for the support, James. But let's cut the small talk. Why are you so invested in me? And don't give me that fair fight line again. James leaned back, his smile fading. You want the truth? I think you're the real deal. Emma, smart, tough, honest. Sterling Gems needs someone like you, and I'm making sure we get you. Her heart fluttered, but suspicion kept her grounded. That's a lot of faith for an assistant to have. Holt listened to you like you're calling the shots. Who are you? Really? James's eyes flickered, a moment of hesitation that didn't escape her. I'm someone who wants this deal to work, he said carefully, and someone who doesn't want to see you get hurt. Emma's frustration boiled over. Stop dodging. James, Jenna's gone, but I'm not out of the woods. Someone's been feeding her dirt on me, personal dirt. If it's you, I need to know. His jaw tightened, a flash of hurt crossing his face. It's not me, Emma. I'd never betray you. But I'll help you find out who did. Give me a chance. She wanted to believe him, his sincerity tugging at her heart, but the stakes were too high. Her career, her baby, her future. Prove it, she said, standing. Actions, not words. As she left the bar, the city's lights blurring through her cab window, Emma's mind raced. Jenna was down, but the war wasn't over. Lucas's loyalty was her anchor, but James was a wild card. Was he her ally, or the next threat? And with her pregnancy a secret too dangerous to keep buried, Emma knew she had to move fast. The truth was out there, and she'd fight to uncover it, no matter who stood in her way. The golden glow of chandeliers bathed the grand ballroom of a Fifth Avenue hotel, where Lux Designs and Sterling Gems were hosting a gala to announce their partnership. Emma stood at the edge of the room, her emerald gown shimmering like the jewels on display. The weight of the past week's Jenna's betrayal, her suspension, the vault incident, and the secret of her pregnancy still lingered, but tonight felt like a turning point. She'd reclaimed her place at Lux Designs, exposing Jenna's lies, with Lucas's help, but one puzzle remained unsolved. James, his defense in the boardroom and cryptic words at the Soho bar had left her torn between trust and doubt. Was he her ally, or another player in this ruthless game? Emma sipped sparkling water, her eyes scanning the crowd. Executives mingled, their laughter mingling with the soft jazz from a live band. Lucas leaned against a pillar nearby, his suit slightly rumpled but his grin sharp. You clean up nice, Emma, he teased, nodding at her gown. Ready to own this room? She forced a smile, her stomach fluttering not from nerves, but the baby, a reminder of the life she hadn't planned. Just want to get through this without drama, she said. Jenna's gone, but I'm not taking chances. Lucas's eyes narrowed, glancing at James across the room. Speaking of drama, your boy's been watching you all night. Still, think he's just an assistant. Emma followed his gaze. James stood with a group of Sterling Gems reps, his black tuxedo tailored to perfection, his hazel eyes catching hers. Her heart skipped, but she pushed it down. He's hiding something. Lucas. I'm not falling for the charm until I know what. Lucas chuckled, sipping his whiskey. Fair, but if he's trouble, I've got your back. Always. Before Emma could reply, the band paused, and a spotlight hit the stage. Richard Holt, Lux Designs CFO, took the mic, his voice booming. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we celebrate a historic partnership between Lux Designs and Sterling Gems. Let's welcome the man behind this vision, James Sterling, CEO of Sterling Gems. The room erupted in applause, but Emma froze, her glass nearly slipping from her hand. CEO, not an assistant, but the head of Sterling Gems. Her mind raced, piecing together his confidence, his pull with Holt, his cryptic deflections. He'd lied to her, played her, and the betrayal stung like a slap. James stepped onto the stage, his presence commanding. Thank you, Richard, he said, his voice smooth. This partnership is a milestone, built on trust and excellence. I owe much of its success to one person, Miss Emma Carter, whose talent and grit made this possible. The crowd clapped, turning to Emma, but her smile was tight, her eyes locked on James. He'd used her, watched her fight for her life while hiding his power. Why? As he stepped down, weaving through the crowd toward her, her anger flared. Emma, he said, his voice low, his eyes searching hers. Can we talk? Somewhere private. She crossed her arms, her voice cold. You mean now that you're done pretending, Mr. Sterling CEO, huh? Nice game? His jaw tightened, but he didn't flinch. It wasn't a game. Please, let me explain. Against her better judgment, Emma followed him to a quiet balcony overlooking Central Park, the city's lights glittering like a sea of diamonds. The cool night air did little to calm her fury. Start talking, she said, her hands on her hips. Why the lie? Why play assistant when you're calling the shots? James ran a hand through his hair, his composure cracking. I didn't want to lie, Emma. I went undercover to evaluate looks, designs myself. My father, he's the chairman, insisted we vet every partner personally. I couldn't risk bias, so I posed as an assistant to see the real you, not the polished bitch. Emma laughed bitterly, shaking her head. The real me? You saw me get framed, locked in a vault, humiliated, and you said nothing. You let me think you were nobody. I couldn't blow my cover, James said, stepping closer. But I fought for you behind the scenes. With Holt, with my team. I believed in you, Emma, from the moment I saw you close that first deal. Her eyes stung, torn between anger and the sincerity in his voice. You don't get it, James. I trusted you, and you played me. I'm done with games. She turned to leave, but his hand caught hers, gentle but firm. Wait, he said, his voice raw. I'm not playing now. I'm here, telling you the truth because I care about you. More than I should. Emma's breath caught, her heart racing. She pulled her hand away, but his words lingered, tugging at her defenses. Care about me? Then why let Jenna tear me apart? She knew things, James' personal things. Did you tell? Her eyes widened, a flash of anger crossing his face. No, never. If Jenna dug into your life, it wasn't through me. I swear, Emma, I'd protect you, not hurt you. She studied him, the city's hum fading into the background. His sincerity felt real, but trust was a luxury she couldn't afford, not with a baby on the way and her career still fragile. She said, her voice soft but firm. No more secrets. James nodded, his eyes never leaving hers. No more secrets. Starting now I am falling for you, Emma. I have been since that gala. I know I screwed up, but I want to make it right. Her heart pounded, his words unraveling her resolve. She wanted to believe him, to let herself fall, but fear held her back. I need time, she said, stepping back. You don't get to drop this and expect me to just trust you. He nodded, his expression pained but resolute. I'll wait, as long as it takes. Back inside, the gala was in full swing, but Emma felt like she was underwater. Lucas caught her eye, raising a brow. You okay? Look like you just saw a ghost. James is the CEO, she said, her voice hollow. Not an assistant. He's been lying this whole time. Lucas whistled low, setting his glass down. Damn, want me to deck him? I owe you one. Emma managed a weak laugh, shaking her head. Not yet. He says he's on my side, but I don't know what to believe. Lucas's eyes softened. Follow your gut, Emma. You're the smartest person I know, and if he hurts you, I'll break his kneecaps. She smiled, grateful for his loyalty. As the night wound down, a new figure approached. Henry Sterling, James's father and chairman of Sterling Gems. His silver hair and sharp eyes exuded authority. Ms. Carter, he said, extending a hand, my son speaks highly of you. I thought, see why. You've handled this partnership its challenges with grace. Emma shook his hand, her mind racing. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. It's been eventful. Henry chuckled, glancing at James across the room. My boy's got a good eye. He insisted you stay on the deal, even when others doubted you. I trust his judgment. Emma's heart skipped. James had fought for her, even when she didn't know it. As Henry walked away, she caught James watching her, his expression hopeful. For the first time, she let herself consider trusting him not fully, but enough to keep the door open. As the gala ended, Emma stepped into the cool night, the city's lights a reminder of the fight ahead. Jenna was gone, but her final taunt about Emma's personal issues still echoed. Someone had fed her dirt, and Emma needed to know who. With James's truth laid bare and her heart teetering on the edge, she knew one thing: love was a risk. But she was ready to face it, one step at a time. The morning after the gala, Emma woke to the soft hum of Manhattan outside her apartment window. The city's pulse, a steady reminder of the life she'd fought for. The Sterling Gems contract was hers again. Jenna was gone, and James had laid his cards on the table, CEO, not assistant, and falling for her. Yet, as she sipped her decaf coffee, her hand resting on her stomach, doubts lingered. Her pregnancy, a secret she'd shared only with Lucas, was a wild card in a world already stacked against her. Could she trust James with her heart, let alone her future? And who had fed Jenna the dirt about her doctor's visits? The questions churned as she dressed for work, her diamond pendant gleaming like a talisman. At Lux Design's Fifth Avenue headquarters, the office buzzed with renewed energy. Emma's reinstatement had sent a ripple through the team, her victory over Jenna a warning to anyone else with schemes. She strode into her office, her tailored blazer a shield against the whispers that still followed her. Lucas was already there, sprawled in a chair with a grin that could light up Times Square. "Morning, boss," he said, tossing a folder onto her desk. Final shipment schedules for the Sterling Sapphire collection were locked and loaded. Emma smiled, flipping through the papers. "Nice work, Lucas. You've been my rock through this mess." He shrugged, his scar catching the light. "Just doing my job. But I gotta ask, how's it feel to be back on top? And what's the deal with James? Guys got it bad for you." Emma's cheeks warmed, but she kept her tone light. "It feels good to be back. As for James, I'm figuring him out. He's not what I thought, but trust takes time." Lucas nodded, his grin softening. "Fair. Just watch your back, Emma. Jen is out, but she had help. My IT guy found a deleted email. Was paying a nurse at your clinic for info? That's how she knew about the doctor's visits." Emma's blood ran cold, her hand tightening on the folder. "A nurse? That's low, even for her." "Yeah," Lucas said, leaning forward. "I reported it to the clinic they're investigating. Jenna won't touch you again, but you need to be careful. Secrets like yours, they're ammunition." Emma's throat tightened, the weight of her pregnancy pressing heavier. "Thanks, Lucas. I owe you more than I can say." He waved her off, standing. "Pay me in pizza. I'm cheap. But seriously, Em, you're gonna be fine. You always are." As Lucas left, Emma's phone buzzed with a text from James. "Lunch at Bryant Park, 1 p.m. I owe you a real talk." Her heart skipped, torn between caution and the pull of his words. "At the gala?" She typed back, "I'll be there." On steeled herself for whatever came next. At Bryant Park? The spring sun warmed the grass, where New Yorkers lounged with coffee and books. Emma found James at a quiet table near the fountain, a picnic spread before him, sandwiches, sparkling water, and a box of macarons. He stood as she approached, his smile warm but nervous. "A far cry from the polished CEO? Thought we could keep it simple," he said, gesturing to the table. "No boardrooms, no games, just us." Emma sat, her guard still up. "Simple's good, but you've got a lot of explaining to do, James. Starting with why you kept me in the dark." He nodded, his hazel eyes steady. "I owe you that. Going undercover was my father's idea. He's old school, doesn't trust polished pitches. I saw how you ran your team, how you fought Jenna's lies, and I knew you were the real deal. But I didn't expect to feel what I do for you." Emma's heart fluttered, but she kept her voice firm. "Feelings don't erase lies, James. I was drowning, and you watched." "I didn't just watch," he said, leaning forward. "I pushed Holt to reinstate you, told my father you were irreplaceable. I kept my cover because the deal needed it, but I hated lying to you. I'm sorry, Emma. I want to earn your trust. Whatever it takes." She studied him, the sincerity in his voice chipping at her defenses. "And what happens now? You're a CEO? I'm a sales lead with complications. We're not exactly a fairy tale." James's smile softened, a glint of mischief returning. "Maybe not, but I'm betting on us. Complications and all." Emma hesitated, her hand brushing her stomach. She hadn't told him about the baby fear of judgment, of losing him, kept her silent, but his honesty deserved hers. "There's something you need to know," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm pregnant. 6 weeks and I don't know who the father is." James's eyes widened, but he didn't pull away. "Okay," he said slowly, processing. "That's big, but it doesn't change how I feel. I'm here, Emma, for you, for whatever you decide." Tears prickled her eyes, his words a balm to her fears. "You don't even know if it's yours," she said, her voice cracking. "Why would you stay?" "Because it's you," he said simply, reaching for her hand. "I don't need all the answers now. I just need you to give us a chance." Emma's heart swelled, the weight of her secret lifting slightly. She squeezed his hand, a tentative step toward trust. "One chance? James, don't blow it." He grinned, relief flooding his face. "Deal." That afternoon, back at Looks Designs, Emma was summoned to the boardroom, where Henry Sterling, James's father, waited with Holt. "Miss Carter," Henry said, his voice warm but authoritative. "Your leadership on the Sterling contract has impressed me. I'd like you to oversee our joint Sapphire collection launch, with a promotion to VP of Sales." Emma's jaw dropped, her eyes flicking to James, who stood nearby, a proud smile on his face. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling," she said, shaking Henry's hand. "I won't let you down." As the meeting ended, Emma pulled Lucas aside, her gratitude overwhelming. "I'm making you my assistant," she said, grinning. "Double your salary, full benefits. You've earned it." Lucas's eyes widened, his grin matching hers. "Damn, Emma, you're trying to make me cry?" "I'm in." That evening, Emma met James at Central Park. The sky painted pink and gold as they strolled near Bethesda Fountain. The city's hum faded, leaving just them, their hands brushing as they walked. "So, VP Carter," James teased, nudging her, "ready to run the jewelry world with me?" Emma laughed, the sound lighter than it had been in weeks. "Maybe, but only if you keep the picnic lunches coming." He stopped, turning to face her, his expression serious. "Emma, I meant what I said. I'm all in for you, for us, for whatever's next." will you give me a shot? Officially. Her heart raced, the fear of heartbreak warring with the hope in his eyes. She stepped closer, her voice soft. Yes, James, let's try. He pulled her into his arms, his kiss gentle but electric, sealing their promise under the park's ancient trees. As they pulled apart, Emma felt a flutter, not just the baby, but a spark of joy she hadn't dared hope for. Jenna's schemes, the vault, the lies they'd forged her into something stronger. With James by her side, Lucas as her rock, and a new life growing within her, Emma was ready for whatever New York threw her way. Asterisk, we want to hear from you. Which moment in this story touched you the most? Drop a comment with your favorite scene, pick an emoji that captures this romance, and rate it from 0 to 10. Subscribe for more tales of passion and power, and share with anyone who loves an unforgettable romantic drama.